Brighter days are on their way.
Similkameen, South Okanagan West Kootenay riding.
Forever's how long they'll stay. Brighter days are on their way.
Hi, I'm Chris Pequin, and I'm a potential candidate for the Similkameen, South Okanagan West Kootenay riding. I'm hoping to be the next candidate for the Conservative Party of Canada, and right now I'm in the midst of a nomination race. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about, first off, why I decided to run, and then also want to share a little bit about why I think you should select me to be the candidate for the Conservative Party in the upcoming nomination race. Basically, they're summed up in 6 F's. 3 F's on why I decided to run, and 3 F's on why I think you should select me to be your candidate. Over the last 8 years, I've seen a real attack on our finances. And I think many of you, like me, are feeling that crunch now between high inflation, high interest rates, and runaway government spending. I believe it's really wrong to pass on the amount of debt that we're going to pass on to future generations, because it's not going to be me or my parents that pay for this debt. It's going to be my children and grandchildren that are going to pick up the tab over the next 20, 30 years. The second reason I decided to run is there's been an attack on our families. I believe in strong families and traditional values. I myself have been married for 28 years and have 5 wonderful children. However, over the last number of years, governments and public institutions have been trying to undermine your authority as a parent. And I believe whether they're adopted or you gave birth to them, those are your children, and you have the final authority as to what they're taught and what they believe. In fact, I also believe in protecting our children. At the last Conservative Policy Convention in Quebec City, I voted in favor of a motion that would make it illegal for any medical professional to offer pharmaceutical or surgical treatment for gender dysphoria to anyone under the age of 18. The third reason I decided to run is over the last 8 years, I've seen a significant attack on our personal freedoms. We've seen a loss of freedom of speech. The government continues to try to compel us to say things we may not believe in. In addition to that, it's trying to limit what we do say on our own social platforms. We've seen the loss of freedom to protest. Bank accounts are seized. People are still in jail today, 2 years after the convoy, with no charges against them. And then finally, we've lost freedom of bodily autonomy. Folks, bottom line is, we have the final say of what happens to our bodies, not the government. So why should you select Chris Pequin to be your next candidate for the Conservative Party in the Similkameen, South Okanagan West Kootenays? Well, number one, I like to think of myself as friendly. For years, I've been frustrated with how toxic the public squares become. Instead of talking points and personal attacks, I think that we as Canadians have a lot more in common than we have different. And we may not always agree on certain topics and issues, but that doesn't mean we have to be disagreeable people. So I promise to remain friendly. And for this reason, I've selected Positively Pequin as a hashtag attached to all my social media. The second reason, folks, I think you should select me as your next candidate for the Conservative Party of Canada in the Similkameen, South Okanagan West Kootenays is I am focused. I'm a true blue, fully invested conservative. I have been my whole life, and I will continue to always be so. In addition, I've put in the work. Over the last 2 years, I've had dozens of meet and greets, knocked on hundreds of doors, made countless phone calls and emails, and had hundreds of coffees. Long before we even had a political leader or were popular in the polls, I was out pounding the pavement. And we've had success. We now have a really functional, amazing board. We've raised up hundreds of new volunteers. Our leader is paying attention to our riding with his numerous visits, and we're leading in the polls. We've made this a winnable riding. Finally, folks, I'm fired up. When the government attacks my finances, my family, and my freedoms, I have no other choice but to stand up. And I know thousands of you feel the same way. For this reason, I'm asking for your vote in the upcoming nomination race for the Conservative Party of Canada. I want to represent the Similkameen, South Okanagan West Kootenays and take your frustrations and your concerns to Ottawa. Thank you, and God bless.